Welcome to episode 118 of Volunteer for Israel's episodes that have been going on for about a year and a half now, every Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Today's episode will be presented by Lieutenant Colonel Shai Schul and a guest of his. Before we get to that, we have a couple of announcements. Anna, do you have anything that you want to add?
Well, you said what I was going to add, what you had asked me to say, so I don't have much else other than I'm going to get a cannoli if anyone wants one. But welcome anyone who has not been here before. This program, as Steve said, is run by Volunteers for Israel, and we're the only organization that facilitates civilians volunteering on IDF bases based on need in Israel. If you're interested, put a message in the chat and I will try to see it later, or let Pam know and I will contact you soon.
Thanks, Alana. I'd like now to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Shai Schul. He is a 25-year veteran of the IDF, and he has been a medical commander. He has been working in various hotspots and not so hotspots all over Israel. Currently, he is a liaison officer to the United States Army, headquartered near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, on a 3-year tour with his family. And he's kind enough to give us, I think this is your third presentation to us, Shai, since we started this way back when. I think Shai was one of the early episodes, maybe number 5 or number 10. And for those folks who want to see what we've been doing these 117 episodes, you're all welcome to check out the index. And the index lives on a homepage on the internet, and you get it by typing in tinyurl.com/VFI educates, then the number 2. And through that index, you can click and be immediately drawn to the episode. And also, if you click on the upcoming episodes at the right time, you can join them live just like this one. So, Lieutenant Colonel Shai, thanks for joining us today. All yours.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are. I think, Steve, all of you giving so much for Israel and the IDF, so the minimum that I can do is come here for the third time already and be with you and get to know you and speak about something. And I'm impressed that VFI educates. You started it about more than a year ago, I think, or a year ago, and it's huge. It's huge. I'm so happy, and it's outstanding. And you keep on doing it, and coming every week, and you're touring all over Israel. It's amazing.
Bless you.
I'll try to share my screen now. So when we schedule today's brief, I think we will have it today for 45 minutes, 1 hour. So we tried to do it last week or 2 weeks ago, and then we end up of doing it 11/11. And 11/11 is Veterans Day, so I thought to connect my brief for today with Veterans Day. As Steve said, I'm here for already 2.5 years, enough more here to go. I'm here with my family. You will get to know them very soon in the presentation. What I thought of talking today is about significant service in the IDF. So this is my point of view of how service in the IDF can look like. And together with myself today, I have a special guest, unique one, good friend, almost family. We did many Shabbat dinners together. He has a very, very, very unique story about the IDF. You will never expect how many stars, and you will never guess how many stars he has on his shoulders and above his head. And I will stop the sharing for now. And Nimrod, are you with us?
Shalom, 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 everybody. Shalom from Tel Aviv. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
We're good.
I'll appreciate the nods. I'll appreciate nodding and facial and body language as we need it in online conferences. So can you hear me fine? Good. Can you see me okay? I feel a little bit yellowish because of the light in the room, in my workroom, but is it okay?
You're good.
I'm not so yellow in real life, okay? Okay. But I'm very happy to be here with you tonight. Thank you, Steve, for the introduction, and thank you, Shai, for inviting me. And I'll be so happy to speak along with Shai and tell you a fascinating story about these things that happen in the IDF. As I understand, all of you know, I really, really appreciate your contribution and your taking part in the activities of the IDF, which, as we all know, I guess, friends, as you are friends of the IDF, part of the volunteers, you know that it's not your everyday army, if to say. It's a very particular and exceptional organization, which is actually part of everyday life in Israel, and we are all proud to serve in it. Shai, I'm going to ping pong this with you. Is that okay?
Yes, I know.
So let me know when you want me to start my introduction.
Yes, I think start your introduction. They should guess.
Excellent.
What are you doing in the IDF?
Excellent. So like a good Jewish man, I'm very happy to talk about myself always, of course. So, I guess you all know the Jewish joke about what does a man like from himself and not from somebody else. There are children and talking, speech. Yeah. We all like our speech, and so anyway. Shai, thank you for inviting me. I understand that you've already this crowd has already met you, and I'm just jealous and envy of them for meeting you for the first time, because we know each other for over 5, 6, 7 years now. We've been working together in the different missions in the field hospital of the IDF, in the health corps of the IDF, and quite a guy, Shai Schul. I salute you for what you're doing in the US. So let me just ask all of you. I understand, and again, I'll appreciate if you answer me by nodding or all of you have met Israeli soldiers. All of you have met the IDF personally, right? As I understand even more, all of you have taken part in different ways in the activities of the IDF, right?
Many.
Okay, I see many, and I like these different answers. Ruth Levi. So I'll be happy to help to show you as well a little bit another insight on our activities. But let me ask you this: many of you, as I understand, have volunteered. Who has volunteered in the activities of the IDF? Show of hands. Wow, that's wonderful. Wait, who of you is anyone here never been to Israel? So who of you has been to Israel? Okay, I'm talking from Tel Aviv now. Which of you has been to Tel Aviv lately?
Lately?
Okay, that's a full participation.
Lately, it's pre-COVID, lately.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's quite a time for all of us, challenging time for all of us. Wait, so everybody's at their home. Are you all right now at home with the isolation and the restrictions of the COVID-19? So at least we have these online sessions where we can meet each other and feel together. And what I want to do is to invite you to guess. I'll tell you a little bit about myself just in one short minute. I grew up in Jerusalem. First of all, my first name is Nimrod. I guess all of you know this name. And also, I grew up in Jerusalem. My father was a doctor in Hadassah and Karem. My mother was a midwife in Hadassah and Karem. I grew up in a hospital. And I grew up as a happy child in Jerusalem. I enlisted in the IDF into Handasa Kravit. That would be military
combat
engineering, which is part of the core of the IDF, and I did a full service, actually very meaningful service as a commander. I was eventually a teacher or a guide in corporal in our different courses, and then I've served in the reserve corps of of the IDF for over 18 years, which is the length of time we need to serve. And at the age of 38, I finished my service, in which I've seen so much of what we do here in Israel, and I took part in the activities both in Israel, in every part of Israel, and in every part of the activities we do, including outside of the borders of Israel. And it was a very, very interesting and meaningful service. I'm so happy and proud to be part of it. Many of my friends from back then are still my friends. As you all know, the IDF service tends to become a very personal journey. And so many of my friends today are friends that I've been through so many missions and activities together. And still today, it's part of what I do. Still today, it's 10 years after I've finished my reserve duty, but I'm still a volunteer. Since, as also, you know, there is a lot of room in the IDF for personal activities. That is not just what you're assigned to do, but also maybe find yourself with your, how do you say, civilian, I'm with my civilian job, my civilian work. And I was lucky enough to be part of the medical corps, to become part of the medical corps in the IDF, thanks to my civilian job. I work in the Tel Aviv hospital. Does anyone, can anyone guess what my job in the Tel Aviv hospital might be?
Marketing.
Ah. That's a great guess, because as you can tell, I'm familiar with public speaking, and I feel comfortable with telling stories and exposing stories and adventures with other people. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a nurse. But still, I'm part of the medical team, the healthcare staff of the Tel Aviv hospital, Ichilov, which many of you might know. Another guess? What might I do in Ichilov in Tel Aviv?
Translator.
A translator. So that's a great guess, because I have good English, but that's actually thanks to the fact that my father was, other than being a physician, he was a researcher, and he researched cholesterol and heart diseases. And so I was lucky enough to do kindergarten in Houston, Texas. So I'm a cowboy. And then the third grade in Seattle, and then another year in New York City. And so thanks to my father's
you
work,
also have very good Italian.
That's true. C'è qualcuno qua che parla italiano? Possiamo farlo in italiano, così in una lingua bella, in una lingua elegante.
Yeah, I can see Kodako raising his hand.
Ah, bravo, amico. So no, I don't feel that that we are reached it yet. Let me just be a little bit, give you another hint. I work in the children's hospital in Tel Aviv, Ichilov. I work in children's departments and in pediatrics, and so I'm part of the staff in children's hospital. Any guess?
Administrator?
Wow.
You're entertainer. You're an entertainer.
I'm not an administrator,
Social
though
worker.
I would love to run the place. But yeah, I think we're having a little bit of a guess. Somehow, I think.
Clown.
Pamela, you got
Cheer
it.
up the kids.
You got it. Exactly. And it is true. My job in the Tel Aviv Children's Pediatric Hospital is medical clown, therapy clowning. Who of you has heard of medical clowning? Who of you have heard of the Israeli project, of the medical clowning Israeli project? Did you hear about that? Wait. Who thinks
I will say you are a doctor, because you are a dream doctor.
That's true. The project's name is Dream Doctors, and this diploma I gave to myself, since I'm the one recruiting new clowns. And so my dad worked very hard for his diploma, me as well, but in different ways. But wait, who thinks it's a good idea to send clowns to entertain and work with children?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I do too. I want to teach you the first technique. I want this meeting to be as meaningful as possible. So I want to teach you the first technique of clowning? What is it that we do when we come to encourage, cheer up, and motivate children in their procedures, in what they have to go through? So it's so simple. Just do what I do.
Make them laugh.
Yeah, I want to teach you the first technique of how is it that we work with these children and their families. Just do what I do. And as we are far away, I'm in Tel Aviv, and most of you around the world in the US, still we can connect and still we can feel together. You and me feel together by our common understanding of playfulness. We'll be playful together. So very simply, just do what I do. It's so simple. It's such an easy and simple game that helps us to feel.
Everybody's on mute, so you can hear only me and Steve.
I assure you that tonight we're going to speak about humor and about the connection that we can all have together, and find this place and with emotional support that we give both in the hospitals in Israel, but also in the IDF, in the field hospital, and the things that we do together. I'll also be very curious to address a little bit about the background of clowning and medical clowns, and specifically the Jewish roots of medical clowning, since it's one of the mitzvahs.
Oops.
You muted yourself.
You're on mute.
That was my first clown bit with you. I was saying that I want to address also the fact that this art form has Jewish roots, since one of the mitzvah that we're all required to do is bikur cholim, to visit the sick. Since there's this mitzvah that is required of us to go and visit to visit the sick and cheer them up. I think it comes from the fact that we are all in this boat together, in this journey of life. We're all in this together, and when one of us is ill, is sick, it's all of the community's duty to cheer them up and to help them go through these challenging times. And so clowns, medical clowns, are part of this concept that says our emotional state is the community's emotional state. It's not just anyone's problem, it's all of us together. And no place knows that better than Israel, where we are faced with challenges and trauma and emotional challenges almost on a daily level. And what we need to do is to find different ways and different solutions for it. I'll pass the baton now to Shai, but I'll be back with you in a minute, because I'm very curious to hear what do you think about what we do as medical clowns in the IDF.
Yeah, so the idea of a significant service in the IDF is that we have many, as you saw, different things, different echelons, different ideas, different things that we can do. The IDF is doing. Actually, Volunteers for Israel also doing a significant service in the IDF. So Nimrod is a medical clown, as you understand. He's part of the IDF. He started to work at Ichilov, but he initiated a program together with the IDF field hospital, and is now a healthcare clown in the mental health unit in our IDF field hospital, which is the best in the world, probably. That's how it looks like in real life, actually, in one of our deployments. Nimrod is on uniform, is part of the IDF, is part of the medical corps, sleeping not both in the same sleeping bag, but in the same tent. And not only those who coming to take healthcare in the hospital are smiling. Also, the staff is smiling, as you can see over here in the photo. Nimrod, myself, this is the general manager of Sha'arei Tzedek Hospital in Jerusalem, Professor Ofer Marin. He's also the commander of the IDF field hospital. and he is an orthopedic surgeon in Ichilov. So we will take you together through our service in the IDF for that. I wanted to take a look in this photo. You see two youngsters in the photo. Both their fathers are in this Zoom meeting. I will give you a hint. One of them is myself. The other one is my cousin. So the one on the left, the tallest one, his name is Tal. He's my son. He's 18 years old. The one on the right, his name is Ben. He's my cousin's son. Tal was born and raised in Israel. Ben was born and raised in Orlando, Florida. But his father, my cousin, born and raised in Petah Tikva, like I did, near Tel Aviv. So we both born and raised in Israel. Our son, our kids, one born and raised in Israel, the other born and raised Orlando, Florida. Ben is 18 years old, and he needed to make a decision if to go to college. He already got approved for a few colleges in Florida and all over the states, or to go to Israel to join the IDF. And it was, I will give you the end of the story. He is now starting his process to join the IDF. His whole family moved back to Israel. His parents, his sister, and now he's in the process with Garin Tzabar to join the IDF, and he soon will wear a uniform and be a combat soldier in the IDF. And it wasn't such a easy decision for the family and for him, for Ben. For my son on the left, it's very easy. There is no choice. He will join the IDF. It's mandatory service. We are in Israel, although now I'm in Pennsylvania, but we'll be back in Israel in half a year. So there is no choice. There is no thinking to put on it, because my son will join the IDF, but Ben should think if to go to IDF or to go to college, which is comfortable, very easy, meet some girls, have good fun. He decided to choose the opposite, to choose not the easy way, to choose the hard way, for defending the country, for giving something for Israel, for being part that is bigger than him, I will say. And I wanted to put this picture at the beginning of my thing, because to do something that is bigger than you, like serving in the IDF, it's something very special and very important for Israel, to keep on being Israel. I will not talk today about the different barrettes and about different units in the IDF. I will not talk about bird's eye view of Israel, because you already did it and you will do it. I know that you have been all over Israel in these Zoom meetings, so I will not do that. I will speak about how unique is the IDF, how unique is the service in the IDF. And Nimrod, you want to say a word about that photo?
Yeah, I agree that the point that you speak about right now, the uniqueness of the IDF as an organization that just represents the entire community of Israel and the whole concept of Israel, not just for Israelis, but as we see tonight, also for Jewish people around the world. The IDF is a place where we all come together to serve together not just in the physical protection of Israel, but also in the character of Israel, and to continue to develop, to defend, and to profit from this unique character of Israelis, of Jewish people around the world. These photos are just interesting perspectives of my experiences in the IDF. Just imagine how surprised I was after serving, as I told you, as an infantry soldier in the IDF, to find out that my hobby, my job in life, my joy in life, to make children smile, to make adults find strength in their procedures, in the therapy, through humor, through laughter, through connection, to find out that it has a place in the core, in the health core. This photo that on the left that you can see is a really unique perspective. It's clown shoes alongside with the military boots. And it's my clown socks that you can see popping up there.
These are not
It's
my
such
socks. Just to make sure.
yeah, it's us sleeping. I think this was in a collaboration we had in Romania, when we had a collaboration with the European field hospital organizations, and I'm just proud to bring this concept that the IDF is not just about the physical protection of Israel, but it's also about the emotional side. Even a clown can find his place where he can help others and bring new points of view, new abilities to cope with trauma. And just the fact that I am still a soldier, so I still carry the boots. By the way, we work hard in the field hospital. We have a lot of work. We have continuous hours. We work nights. We work endless days, and so we need to be prepared for any situation. So I wear the same boots as everybody else. But when it's time for my shift, I put on my clown shoes, which represent a point of view of resilience, a point of view that says, even through hardship, even through challenging times, we can find the strength inside, we can find humor, and we can find connection and friendship. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this field hospital. Shai, I guess you spoke about the field hospital in previous meetings.
Yes, I will mention it soon. I will mention it.
Just to point out, this is a very unique unit, and this unit was recognized even by the WHO, by the UN, as a unique unit worldwide, because we are giving a very, very strong and tight procedures, healthcare treatment to people all around the world, in the name of Israel, in the name of the Jewish people. And so I'm just proud to be part of this unit and to be part of the mental health unit in it.
Thank you, Nimrod. You know the security challenges of Israel. We are not living in a good neighborhood, I will say. We have Lebanon, we have Syria. I gave a speech today and met kids in a Catholic school here in Carlisle, in Pennsylvania, and they asked me what is the main threat on Israel. So I said probably Lebanon and Syria, and Gaza, of course, but they are all supported by Iran. So I talked a lot about Iran, and this is our neighborhood, so we need strong IDF. And strong IDF coming with, in Hebrew it's Ruach Tzahal, but in English it's the spirit of the IDF. And in the spirit of the IDF, we have 10 core values. We will not have enough time to talk about the all 10, but Nimrod and myself will review some of them from our perspective as service members in the IDF. Some of you know me. I was the commander of the Matzrap. My whole career I did in the medical corps, different positions. So I served in Lebanon, I served in the Golan Heights, I served in the Jordan Valley, I served in the headquarters, the West Bank. So I've been served all over Israel. The deployment in Israel, not far from home. So if I was deployed to the Golan Heights, it's 2 hours drive. It's like from Harrisburg to Steve's house. For those of you who have been to the Matzrap 5 years ago, 10 years ago, probably remember the paint on the wall at the entrance to the Matzrap. This paint does not exist anymore because the warehouse does not exist anymore. But I was the commander during Operation Cast Lead as well. all over the world I've been. I managed to spoke many places, but as I always say to Steve and Ilana, I'm always happy to come here, and I'm always happy that they invited me, because I think we are doing the same. We are giving to the IDF, so that's always encouraged me. Currently, I'm here in Pennsylvania with my family as a liaison officer to the US Army, doing FMS, Foreign Military Sales, for the IDF. I'm working together with the mission in New York and the embassy in DC, and collaboration, of course, with the US Army to make the IDF stronger. Here is my family. We celebrated 2 Independence Day of Israel until now here in the States. This is the second one. If I will be invited again, so after the Independence Day, you will have the same photo in our backyard next time. So Tal is 18, Eyal is in the middle, is 15. My wife, my lovely wife, Orit, Nikki is our dog, and Gil, she is 6 years old. She is studying in the JCC, and her prayers are, opening the sky. She is amazing. I used to play handball when I was young. I used to be a volunteer in the Israeli EMS, MADA, Magen David Adom. That's why I decided to join to the IDF Medical Corps, because I found myself coming to houses of people and saving lives or road accidents. And the things that I wanted to do is to be a medic in the IDF Medical Corps, and I'm so happy that that's why the IDF recruited me to do. One more thing from my period as a young adult. 1991, I was in 10th grade, junior at high school, and the first Gulf War has started. So we sat in the shelters with mask on top. This is the mask, gas mask. Probably all of you remember the Gulf War. And this is me in Petah Tikva, not far from Tel Aviv, sitting with my family, with a gas mask on myself, waiting for something to happen. In that war, 77 innocent people in Tel Aviv, near Tel Aviv, were died, and hundreds of injured people in Tel Aviv. And I asked today, as I told you, I did a speech today and spoke with young adults in the local school over here. And I asked them, have the US ever been under fire in the US territories? And they didn't have any answer, so I tried to narrow the question. In the past 70 years, 100 years. And these young adults didn't give me an answer so fast. And so I thought about 2 different occasions. One is Pearl Harbor, and the other is 9/11. These are the 2 main attacks that I remember here in the US territories. The reason I'm talking about it is that, as you know, Israel is the same thing, but almost every week, not every decade or 50 years. From Gaza, rockets to Tel Aviv, to Ashkelon, to Ashdod. And that's why we need the IDF strong. This is just an overview from the past, from the last operation, Guardian of the Walls, last May, not too long ago, 6 months ago. Over 4,200 rockets fired from Gaza. Over 1,400 Iron Dome interceptions. And with all that, 13 Israeli innocent were killed. And over 100 Israelis injured. And this is just yesterday morning. This is not 50 years ago or 20 years ago, like 9/11. And this is a nice photo. I don't know how many of you saw that photo of the Iron Dome in action. Fire from Gaza, and the Iron Dome is shooting from around Ashkelon. This is my hometown, Petach Tikva, small city near Matzrap, near Tel Aviv. One of the rockets hit high house, and fire started, and we needed to evacuate the house. And this is only 1 kilometer from where I born and raised. So the situation in Israel is not like that every day, but we need to be ready. We need to have strong country. We need to have strong IDF. And we need to have soldiers that they believe that what are they doing. And we need to have the same core values of serving in the IDF, even if you're coming from one part of Israel or the other part of the world, even if you are a medical clown, or if you are a medical service, or you are a combat soldier, or 2-star general, or 3-star general. So the IDF is all of that together, and I will take you now to the service in the IDF through each one of the core values of the spirit of the IDF, and Nimrod and myself will do a duet about it, about the spirit of the IDF from our eyes. The first section in the spirit of the IDF is professional, to be professional, professionalism. And I put a photo of myself, and Nimrod pick one photo of how professionalism is important to be a better soldier in the IDF. My photo over here is for me at a combat medic course. I did a combat medic course back to 1994. So after the basic training, I went to a medic course, and it was 4-month course. And the day after I exit the gates of the military medical school, I needed to know how to treat the first patient in my in my clinic or at the field, and I had both on something like the first week. A first patient in my clinic and a first patient in the field, because back then I served in the Golan Heights. So you need to be professional in what you're doing. You need to take yourself seriously in every action that you are doing. And I think that Nimrod, as you can see him, here is in one of our deployments, he's taking himself very seriously in what he's doing. Nimrod.
Let me point out our aspect of it. As you know, you might have heard of the Israeli project of medical clowns in hospitals, but you will not be surprised to hear that we are also entrepreneurs or avant-garde in this area, because in Israel we've conducted in the Haifa University the first ever bachelor degree in medical clowning. As we all know, Jewish people, Israeli people are researchers. We like to ask, why does this thing work and how does it work? Sometimes even too much. Sometimes we have too many questions. As Jewish joke, the old Jewish traditional joke goes, why does a Jewish person always answer you with a question? And the answer is, why not? And so we have conducted in the Haifa University the world first ever bachelor degree in medical clowning. And so myself and my colleagues are graduate of Haifa University. We've done courses of theater and of therapy. We did nursing and psychology and child development and etc. And so we take professionalism very seriously, even in a field like clowning. We like to research it, to ask how it works, why it works, and what can we do to advance. In the IDF field hospital, we were lucky to be invited to with the missions, and then eventually accepted as full-on staff members. And also there, the question was, how does this work? One of our colleagues, Dr. Uri Ilan, conducted a full professional research about the effects of the clowns on the staff themselves. And for him, it was very important to ask these questions on the most professional level. And we have he published his research in the journals, in the medical journals. And so, again, we take it very seriously, even if it's about humor. Shai spoke about the challenges, which you all know of very well, the emotional challenges that we go through in Israel on a weekly, at least monthly basis. And from my point of view, I say trauma and the healing of trauma in Israel, for example, these days is a constant challenge. We don't talk about treatment of PTSD. We talk about prevention of PTSD because we come to the field as the rockets fall. I myself am part of the first aid trauma unit of MADA, of Ichud Hatzala, in different ways, because what we believe in that we can make a difference in the field, in the moment. In the hospital, we call it, we want to heal the pain when it hurts, not after it hurts. And so professionalism for us is this point of view that says anything that we do, whether it's the military skills, whether it's the emotional support skills, whether it's kugel and the meals that we eat and the food that is served, we're going to do it on the best level that we can. This is an ongoing challenge because Israel is full of challenges, but that's how we like to run it.
Thank you, Nimrod. The next photo is comradeship. It's also for you, Nimrod, because we can see here in the same photo before we depart from one of our deployments, again to Romania, I think. Professor Ofer Marin and Dr. Nehemia Bloomberg from Ichilov and Nimrod himself.
I'll point out that Professor Ofer Marin, here on the left, which is the head general director of Shaarei Tzedek Hospital in Jerusalem, a very serious man with a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. He took the clowns over in the first drill that we did together, and he pointed out two things that were crucial for him. He said, your job is to help the medical procedures, to help the people that we treat, to help the people in need with their emotional struggle, with their fear, with their anxiety. But the second thing that you're responsible of, and he put this responsibility on our clown shoulders, he said, my staff, the doctors, the nurses, the people that are in this field hospital, they are the people that are on call throughout their service, which means once they get the phone call, they have about 6 hours to be in the airport and fly out of Israel to aid, whether it's a foreign country undergoing earthquakes, tsunamis, or natural catastrophes, whether it's different other places where we meet attacks or different kinds of hostile attacks. These people need emotional support to do their job well. We need to stay as a unit strong and resilient. We need to have the inner strength in order to help others. And he told us that's total part of your responsibility, and this photo shows it. The friendship and the fact that we work together is part of our ability to function and to help others. I love this work.
I can see that Claire wrote that she knows Ofer Marin and they are friends on Facebook. And she knows his daughter, and she's really lovely. He has 4 kids, and all 4 of them are lovely. And his wife Ora is the same. She's great, and he's also a great guy. And for myself, okay, I put for that. A photo of mine that I picked from rank of 2nd lieutenant. It was also long ago. I have not too much hair on my head, but more than I have now. And I picked that photo with my commander at the 7th Brigade and my surgeon of 7th Brigade back then. It's an armor brigade. Because when you are together in the field, no matter these pictures were taken in the Golan Heights, in the same building that Goradish was the commander and Kalani after him. And when you are in the field, you are always together. You are advocated. You need to give from yourself to the other. You will risk your life to the one commander or soldier or friend that shoulder to shoulder with you. That's what we learn in our basic training and then in officer school. And actually, when you are in the IDF, you doesn't have to learn it because it's coming with you. It's built in every step that you are doing in the IDF. They found themselves and I found myself in many military activities, sometimes under fire, sometimes in a combat zone. The only thing that you want to do is to be there for your friend, which is very special and unique, not only for the IDF, but for the IDF, I would say, over here in this presentation. The next core value and one of the spirits of the IDF is responsibility. So this photo was also taken in the Golan Heights in the same 7th Brigade about 25 years ago. Second lieutenant, I am as a first lieutenant and then second lieutenant. And my responsibility was to be on alert, to know that on Saturday I can rest in bed in one of the bases in the Golan and hear the alert in the base, and 1 hour later be with my tank on the front lines defending the border between Syria and Israel. That's how I raised in the IDF. My responsibility to defend Israel and especially to defend the Golan. Back then, early 90s, every Shabbat, every preparing for Shabbat was a drill, going to the front lines and be ready for the Syrians to come. Hopefully they will not come again. And I think we are now strong enough, and they are not so strong to come again like they did on 73. And the drill has changed. But this was one of my first responsibilities back then. And this kind of responsibility still exists in the IDF, on the Lebanon border, on Gaza, on the Golan Heights, with the Syrian border, everywhere that you are going in the IDF, you have responsibility, huge responsibility on your shoulders for what you're doing.
Shai, you talk about the shoulders and the responsibility, and I just wanted to show you my ranks. My ranks. Yeah. Since as many other things in Israel, we had to invent this concept of military clowns, and so I took the responsibility to invent it, and we've placed this red circle to show that this and it goes on our shoulders right here. You see it in the photos, because as you said, responsibility lays on the shoulders, and we take it, and we take the full job of being there, of developing it, of being accountable for it, even if we're here to cheer up, to bring morale up, to bring the friendship and the inner strength of people together. It's a job to do. It's a job to do, especially in hard times, in harsh times. In those times, we need to operate. We need to be the ones that are able to take it on our shoulders and change the way people feel and give them strength and remind them of their inner strength. And so we even made up these wonderful things. I'm very proud to do them. And let me just tell you that in one of the drills, I was also are you promoted? I was promoted in ranks. Is that the right expression?
Yes.
I was promoted in ranks just because of the time I gave in the IDF, and as it happens sometimes in the IDF, nobody brought the ranks that I was supposed to be given for real, and so Ofer and Chemi, the commander and his wife, gave me these, and it wasn't a joke. Even though it's a funny thing, even though we are here to to bring humor into the air, it's not a joke. Clowning is serious business. These photos that you see here are of one of them is my colleague, and the others are my colleagues, of course, and we are there to bring smiles, to bring happiness, to bring resilience, and to bring people the feeling, the hope that their life will be better. And we know that we can do that together.
Yes, I want to add something about the picture on the bottom left. About responsibility. So this picture was taken in Nepal, in a real deployment in Nepal. And I think this is a huge responsibility to come to our country, different, everything is different. After a disaster, meet these families and kids and start to treat them, to talk with them, to do something with them, to make them smile. It's a huge responsibility, not only on the surgeon. It's a huge responsibility on any team member. And Nimrod, you know all the team of Dream Doctors and the IDF clowning department in our hospital are doing a great job with that responsibility.
We love our job. We're so lucky to do it, especially in a country like Israel. And just to point out that why do we use clowns? We are looking to cheer up and bring humor. We have many different comedians that can do that. Clowns are the ones who find the humor without words, non-verbal humor, right? That's what Charlie Chaplin did in all his movies. He made us laugh, he made us smile, he made us dream so much without one word. And the clowns are the ones who find humor in daily activities. They are the ones who find the imaginative parts of our life, of daily life, and are able to bring laughter, to bring joy without jokes, without words. That's why they are so valuable and can help so much when we deploy into a place like Nepal. This photo was taken in 2015 in the mission after the earthquake that shattered Kathmandu and the Himalaya, and the ability of the clowns to connect to these people was unbelievable because they don't need words. They don't need common language. They can connect and bring laughter and joy without words. By the way, it was fascinating to see. Many of you might know that in Israel we have quite a few Nepalese and Indian and Filipino ladies mostly that help our elders that work with our people here in Israel. And they came, some of them came to the field hospital in Kathmandu because they were a rare people that spoke Nepalese and Hebrew. And they were able to translate, and they came and volunteered because they came and helped. They come and help our elders, our family members. And when we came to Kathmandu and to help them, they came and volunteered, and they were able to translate a very rare combination of Nepalese and Hebrew. That was fascinating to see.
Yes, Shayla asked if we are using medical clowns they ever deployed to international disasters. So the answer is yes. Yeah. Actually, we started it, I think, in Nepal with the IDF first time, but they are doing many deployments all over the world. You will manage to see one in our backyard over here in Pennsylvania, not backyard, one of the big cities of Pennsylvania, in the next few slides, I think. Talking about human life, I took 3 pictures from my experience in the IDF. First is from the Israeli helicopter disaster in Shai Schul and Daphna. 2 Sikorsky helicopters crashed. 73 soldiers have died. I was there with my hands in the river trying to look for survivors that I never found. About 2 hours after the crash, I was in Somet Golani. I heard a call. I turned right. and drove to Kiryat Shmona, and I was there like very early after the disaster. And unfortunately, the probably only thing that we got to do over there is to look for bodies. The second thing over here was Regev and Goldwasser. Both were kidnapped by the Hezbollah in Lebanon back to 2006, but we got them back as two dead soldiers 2008. And I was on the point in Rosh Hanikra, taking him down out of the Red Cross Jeep that brought them to us. And I knew that, you know, all the countries looking at me, at them, at all the IDF people that were over there, such as emotional moment for me. They weren't alive, but I felt their body with me. And the last picture over here on the bottom is Gilad Shalit. We got him back 2012. He was kidnapped by the Hamas. And again, I was there in Tel Nof with his family, with the General Chief of Staff of the IDF. It was Benny Gantz back then, the Prime Minister. Everybody was together in Tel Nof base, waiting for Gilad Shalit to land with the helicopter from the base near Gaza. And it was really unique. Also the 2 days to get ready to that moment. And then to see him for the first time, it was really unique, because when you're talking about human life, the line became straight. Everybody is the same rank. Everybody is doing together. So on the preparation to get Gilad Shalit back, we needed to be ready for his family, to set up a clinic, to do the first examination, to see if he's okay after, you know, so long time. So everybody did the same thing together. So I could find myself taking a table with the commander of the Israeli Air Force, or speaking with his family. And it was also a unique place and unique moment, because when you are dealing with human life, it's really something different. And I didn't put here, you know, like saving lives, because this is for sure. This is goes without saying, coming to after someone got fired and save his life. This goes without saying. And when we are talking about human life, I mentioned Pittsburgh. I want Nimrod to say something about the terror attack in Pittsburgh.
Well, I just have to say, Shai, you're very inspiring. You had an exceptional service. It's amazing. I'm part of the mental health units in various organizations in Israel, and as such, I go out with these missions whenever needed. I was on the plane 10 hours after the attack in the Tree of Life in Pittsburgh, alongside with a team of psychologists and social workers, and we came to Pittsburgh on Sunday, on the next day. And of course, it's a devastating event, and my job was to work with the children. I just went from kindergarten to kindergarten, from school to school, all throughout Pittsburgh, in the Jewish schools, and I just played with the children. As we said back then, the kids don't know. The kids know, and they understand, and they see that everybody is shattered, and that this event has happened, and that things are not as they were. And we don't have to burden them with the details, but we have to find a way to play with them, to bring out their emotions, and to have them communicate and play out what they are feeling right now. Clowns can do that, because clowns are emotional comedians. We play with what we feel, and we make these children play out what they feel, what's happening, what they see, what they understand of what's happening. And again, without the information, we just try to give them an exhaust pipe, a place to playground, an emotional, safe place. And it was a fascinating 2 weeks to spend there. Of course, devastating event. But again, as Israelis, as Jewish people, we have even a duty, a responsibility, as we spoke, to help and aid in times of trouble.
A short movie, words, so you will be able to drink water, and I put the movie. Steve, just let me know that you can hear. Can you hear?
Very good.
Happened. Wait a minute.
Shalom. So it's been 1 week that I'm here in Pittsburgh, working with the community in so many parts and so many different places, bringing our special clown energy to deal with the shock, the grief, and the sadness of what has happened here, but in a way that is more hopeful, energetic, and that can even bring some comfort to the people of the community. Kids maybe don't know everything that has happened, and they should not, and maybe they don't understand everything that happened, and nobody can, but they feel it. They feel it in the energy around them. And so my job is to unload all these emotions, to have them play. Bring out emotions, to have them laugh, to have them be angry, to have them be jealous of each other, to have them communicate in any way possible, in a clowny, simple, funny, kind of letting go of negative energy on a subconscious level. You don't have to say it, you just have to play it. The Israeli emergency organization, Ihud Hatzalah, had sent a team of trauma specialists, psychologists, social workers, and other experts, and we actually worked together as a team, and in a few different places we combined these techniques and these different methods of emotional support to try to reach different people and help them relieve all their feelings, their emotions. Medical clowning gives a lot of heart, a way to listen to each other and communicate, not by the information that we have, which can be very sad and problematic, but more in the emotional level of how we react to what has happened in a strengthening way, in a way that can help us to process what has happened, all our negative natural emotions, in a way that can uplift the spirits and change a little how we feel about what has happened. So thank you, Pittsburgh, for having me in such a wonderful way, and see you in much, much better circumstances.
Well done, Nimrod. By the way, Sharon asked if you are taking courses, like mimic courses and everything. Sharon, I will tell you, I should invite you together with me to be a fly on the wall in a medical clowning conference. And I think it will be, a great opportunity.
I'll be happy to do that. And the answer is yes.
Yes, Nimrod.
The answer is yes. We work on non-verbal humor and the ability to connect without words, since, as we all know, the body tells so many stories, and the ability to connect to each other is not only in verbal terms, but also on the emotional level. And yeah, thanks. Thank you very much for showing that movie.
So the next thing in the spirit of the IDF is personal example. Each one of us have someone or many people who is taking example of. This is me with the former Surgeon General of the IDF on the border, on the Jordan Valley, between the border between Israel and Jordan. But I put that photo not only because of him. I put that photo because all of us should give personal example to others. And like that, the world will be better. So that's what we are trying to do in the IDF. We are putting a huge responsibility on each one of the soldiers to give personal example to his partner, to his commander, to his soldiers, to anyone. If he's going, in the street, I want the soldier to give personal examples to the civilians. If he's going to speak in a school or to pick up his sister, I want him to give personal example whenever he is, wherever he is. And it is a huge thing that the IDF took for himself as one of the core values, core spirits, personal example. The next thing, and I think almost the last, is vocation. I put here the oath of the IDF Medical Corps, and in the oath I marked only one sentence to take. While taking the oath, I'm swearing to extend a helping hand to the wounded and to the sick, wherever, common or friend or foe, and every man who's ever. And this core, this swear is part of what we are swearing off in every end of medical military course. I put it over here as a vocation because of the tradition of the IDF Medical Corps in humanitarian missions. We have over 65 years of tradition of humanitarian missions all over the world that started back in the 50s of the previous century, and we are still doing it. I should add the slide some more flags and places that we went to. The IDF is doing it within the IDF, the Medical Corps, the On-Front Command. As you understand, there are some civilian organizations, NGOs that are doing it in Israel, and we are very proud in this vocation. I started my career in these humanitarian missions 22 years ago, back in Kosovo, like Steve introduced me. The beginning of this presentation. So back then in 1999, as a young captain, I was part of the IDF Medical Corps mission to Kosovo. Actually, we weren't in Kosovo. We were in Macedonia, Skopje, but we treat refugees that came from Kosovo. And I will tell you, I remember many names of the patients that I treated back then. I never managed to find them on Facebook, but I will keep on trying. This was a huge experience and opportunity for me. And as you heard, part of the vocation in Pittsburgh, and he also took some points from there. Imrod?
Initiative is and responsibility is not always something that you do yourself. It's something that you respond to, and nothing better than the IDF. Our service in the field hospital shows that I respond to the needs when they come up, and I feel that's part of our strength is that we are ready. We're ready for anything. And not only we're in a state of readiness, but when we respond to challenges from the outside, that's when our best part comes out. I mostly serve for the needs of others, and it brings out the best of me. It enables me to go out of my boundaries, to learn new things, to challenge myself in ways I could not do alone. And definitely all of what we do here is us responding to other people's needs with the urgency and the commitment that we have. And it makes us learn so much more and create so much more and be part of so many people's lives. I think it's part of our common tradition as the Jewish people. We were not just living inside our country and taking care of ourselves, but we are part of a larger mission. And this service, again, I had two different services in the IDF. As a soldier in the infantry units, I was in Gaza, in Lebanon, in the West Bank, all over Israel. I was a soldier when Rabin was assassinated. I was in the funeral, assigned to the security units in the funeral. I was there as part of a soldier in the service of Israel. And then later on in life, the IDF gave me this opportunity to bring my job, my professional life, my enthusiastic part of life, actually, the things I believe in, and to find how they can serve for other people. And so today I'm head of the mental health unit. I developed new challenges and new programs together with the psychologists, with the psychiatrists, and we can work together to find more and more ways for emotional support in the field. That's a wonderful thing to have in life.
Yes, I want to give you one more point of view of vocation. Maybe unexpected for you, but very, very, very expected for me. So I think it's the highest thing of vocation that I can find. So that one, and this is it. So in this photo, I'm as a commander of Matzwap during Operation Protective Edge. Huge operation with Gaza. 3,300 rockets from Gaza fired to all over Israel. Almost 600 interventions for Iron Dome. Over around 100 people that were killed, 500 that were injured. And I'm as a commander of Matzap, I have the unit of Sarel, Volunteers for Israel, in the Matzrap while the operation goes on. And they did great. They worked. They never left the warehouse. They worked day and night. Maybe you can recognize some of the faces. Probably you can recognize Mashiach. But I was impressed. I was impressed not only because you came and you worked day and night. I was impressed because my soldiers, my mandatory soldiers that wear uniform, that has to wear uniform, so that vocation, so that you are totally into the mission. And they said, if you are here, I'm not going home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to my family. I'm not going back home. And I will keep on working day at night, in order to be sure that the front line has what it needs. In that case, medical equipment. But this was our responsibility, our vocation, to make sure that the front lines soldiers and commanders have what they need. And in my eyes, it was something that is outstanding. It's far and beyond. And maybe you don't look at this like that, but I am. Mm-hmm. And I know that the IDF is. So thank you for your vocation.
Well, thank you, Shai and Nimrod. That is very inspirational on the humanitarian side of military, something you almost never hear about anywhere. And this was kind of a unique episode today to explain in detail what you guys encountered, what you thought, what you felt. Thank you very much. Pamela, I wonder if you'd like to ask the questions. I see we have about 30 some questions out there. Can you
Well,
do that?
Sure, but Shai answered most of them as we were going along.
Okay.
He left off. Okay. Sharon asked another question about, do you know what units of the IDF were deployed to the Surfside disaster in Florida, and were clowns involved? Did anybody from the IDF go there?
So,
Yes.
as far as I know,
Florida?
it wasn't an official mission of the IDF. Maybe Shai knows about some activities in the US part. And the clowns didn't take part this time. It was a complicated event, as we all know, but we were aware of it from the moment it happened and through all the efforts. We were part of it in Israel, but we didn't deploy this time.
Yes, we didn't deploy that time. We did deploy for the collapse of the building, but again, it was only on-front command and rescue, and not medical aspects.
Yeah.
Okay. And Harry asks, how are you able to handle the stress of what you do and see? Do they teach you handling stress in any of the courses?
Huge question.
That's Harry.
Yes. I will start with something that Professor Ofer Marine said. Ofer Marine, again, is the surgeon, is the general manager of Sha'arei Tzedek, and he's the commander of the IDF field hospital. He said that we are seeing and doing a lot, and when you are in that, in the scene, you are not thinking. But then you are taking, 4 hours to go to the tent and sleep. We are not going to hotels or something. We are going to the tent, which is in the hospital, actually. So we are staying in the scene. And you are starting to think of what you are doing, what you are seeing. And it's not that easy. And the thing that we are doing is to speak a lot, to brief, to debrief. So every day we have a debrief for the team. The other thing that we are doing, Nimrod maybe mentioned it, but to have medical clowns it's not only for the patients, it's also for the team.
Yeah.
A medical clown can take out his red nose or the guitar and start to do a gibberish on the guitar without even, right chords. And everybody is starting to change his mindset, not to be happy, but to change his mindset about sharing, about being together, about start to be a bit more emotional and debrief feelings. Nimrod? I told you so.
Better show
Right.
than talk about it. It's true. Also take in mind just that we in Israel, we have a lot of exercise in this field. We work in the hospitals through the times of bombings, through times of tension and conflict. It's part of what we do. We take care of ourselves through these harsh times, through the challenges. As Shai pointed out, the most important thing is communicate, talk in any way possible. As professionals, we also have techniques that we share of games and exercises that we do together, and it's so important to share, to exhaust your feelings, to bring out your feelings and talk about what's happening to you, many times not in the psychological form but in different ways, other ways. Share and find strength together.
I'd like to also
maybe this is a good point just to mention this interesting fact. Clowning is not an Israeli, not a Jewish tradition at all. Clowning, I went to Paris and to Italy to study it because that was my passion as a young man. But clowning is not a Jewish tradition at all. What we do have is Jewish humor. And Jewish humor, in one way, in more than one way, was always in centuries and thousands of years ago, was about laughing at the things that hurt us, laughing in times of trouble. So many Jewish jokes are actually a strange, sad story with a funny twist at the end. So much of what we do, I'm sure all of you have Jewish jokes right now in your heads, right? You all have examples of this joke that your dad, your Abba, your Mama, your Savta, your Saba used to tell you this joke that was an interesting story. You know, we all say about Jewish holidays, all the Jewish holidays, the story is they tried to kill us, they didn't succeed, let's eat. We all find, as Jewish people, we have a tradition of overcoming troubles in different ways. And so that's part of what we have, this ability to laugh at our problems, laugh at ourselves many times, and overcome our troubles together.
We have actually a volunteer named Philip Bloom, and he's going on the pilot program on December 12th. And he has been a medical clown for a long, long time. And he used to spend quite a bit of time in Israel, and he did used to go around to hospitals. I guess he got special permission to do it. And he used to go around hospitals for, months at a time. He also, every single Friday, he would sit at the Shukar Carmel and sit in the corner there and, make balloons and do his thing for.
I know him. I know Philip.
Philip
Bloom.
Philip Bloom. Yeah,
sure, Philip Bloom. I know him. We spoke many
well,
times.
he's one of our volunteers. He's been coming for years. I've known him for years. And every time, and he always wanted to be at Matzrop. And every time he came for, months, he would always spend part of his time in Israel.
He does amazing work with the children in Otef Gaza, around Gaza, the children in the kindergartens. He's an amazing, exceptional.
And then he used to spend, and then when he wasn't in Israel, he would be in different places, but most of the time in Boston, and he would do his clowning there too. And also, I don't know if you realize, but Michael Alouche, who was the deputy commander of Sarel, I know, Shai, that you know Alouche, he also, when he retired from the army, from Sarel, he also became a medical clown. I don't know if I don't think he's doing it now, but he did become one. So I don't know if you know.
Are there any other questions?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Is there an age cutoff to join the mental health clinic?
No, not that I know. Experience is valuable.
That's great to know. I trained as a psychiatric nurse, and everything that you say, I feel I'm right there with you.
So I'm sure we can use your experience, Barbara.
Okay. Thank you so much.
As long as you are a kid in your spirit.
As long as what?
If you are a kid in your spirit, you are a child in your spirit, so it's good.
Well, what you do never leaves your heart. It never leaves you. You're always devoted and dedicated without a second thought.
You're right. And you say the heart, I have a heart in my hand. So
thank you.
And there are several more people who said what a wonderful job you two are doing and to thank you. And I'm sure that everybody who watched this says the same thing. Richard Rubin said that his oldest Israeli grandson, Eden, is in the IDF medical unit. So wherever there's Richard Rubin. So his grandson is in the medical unit. So that's wonderful, Richard. Great.
Thank you, Pam, for being me in the chat. I really appreciate it. I finally got home.
Oh, you're home. Okay. Alana's back. Well, okay.
Thank you, Pam.
Ilana, I think we have a birthday today.
We do have a birthday today.
Who celebrates a birthday?
I'm a big girl today.
You're a big
Mazel
deal.
tov,
So,
mazel
let
tov.
me be a clown for a minute.
Ah,
Happy birthday.
Hey, you're
Happy
a-
birthday.
This is my
Your
mom.
daughter is amazing. You did a wonderful job.
Oh,
I know, thank you.
yes. Everybody is welcome to unmute themselves as we sing happy birthday to Mother.
Oh,
Yes. Ready?
no.
Happy
Oh, no.
birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy
Yay, thank you.
Hayom yom huledet. Hayom. There we go.
Where
don't
do you
do
get
okay.
such an international birthday?
That's right.
This is my mom, Leora.
Worldwide.
My mom is Leora, and my dad's over here doing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Great.
you.
Happy birthday.
Bye-bye.
You have a wonderful daughter.
Thank you. I agree.
She is great.
Is it schmooze
Okay.
time?
It's almost schmooze time. Let's see, Shai, do you have any closing remarks or any thoughts? And we certainly do
I
appreciate
gave all my closing remarks, so
Okay.
no remarks left.
That's right.
Thank you. That was very entertaining.
Enjoy the
Fine.
rest of the time.
Sorry.
there, Shai. Come back to Israel soon.
Yes, I will.
I'm going to watch everything I missed after this is posted.
Really
Right.
soon. We will meet in Israel. Watch it.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is-
Nimrod, where-
Thanks, Nimrod.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing her with me for my birthday.
You're welcome.
Can I say something?
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Your presentation was just spellbinding today.
Thank you.
Ishai and Nimrod, can I say something to you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ina.
Yeah. Okay. Number one, I'm a volunteer 8 times. I've been on Matzrap, on Tel HaShamer, everywhere. Number one. Number two, today is 6 months since I made an aliyah. And the first
Right,
night,
Shai.
and the first night, my first night was starting with the sirens and racket.
May 12th. Yeah, she came.
Yeah,
She
it's-
came on May 12th.
May 12th.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
called
well told.
trick in shock. So start the worst and then it will be better.
Right, 5 nights after that. So
Wow.
I also want to tell you that I'm an admirer of IDF and defender of Israel and IDF, and I'm a dentist, so medical profession. So listen, this idea about humor and red nose and making people laugh, it's the best idea in medicine. Let's put this way.
Dentists know about pain. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Nimrod.
both very much, both of you.
Thank you, Ilana. Good luck in
Thank
Israel.
you.
Good luck
Thank you.
with
Thank you,
Iran.
Ilana. Thank you, Ina.
All right, bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Shai.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Schmooze,
Bye-bye.
Everybody, 10
Lila
o'clock.
Tov. We're now officially in schmooze mode, and that will go on as long as people want to schmooze. Everybody's welcome to join us. All topics are on the table, and everybody must be wearing shoes.
Okay, Steve.
No, no shoes.
Why?
So sad.
Say goodbye, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
Nimrod.
Tודה רבה.
See you on the
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.